You ready for the South? Let's talk about the South.
All right.
I am begrudgingly going to go with the Saints. I see Derek Carr having a big year with them. I'm not too much of a fan of their coach.
No.
But Derek Carr has a little bit of something and is similar to like Kirk Cousins. I kind of think
Very good, but not great.
Yeah, exactly. He'll put up the numbers, but it's like he hasn't had that season or that game where it's like, damn, I could see him doing this for like the next 5 or 6 years. So
I've hated the Saints. As long as I've been alive, I have hated New Orleans. Even when I didn't live in Florida, I've hated the Saints. I've hated the Saints since I was like, I don't know, 8. I've hated the Saints ever since I got Drew Brees and Sean Payton.
Okay.
I fucking hate Sean Payton. Let me just, I cannot stand that guy.
Right.
And I will never forgive them for their bounty gate. You don't do that.
Oh, Greg Williams. Yeah.
Inexplicable. And the fact that he got another job is beyond me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate the Saints. I hate New Orleans, those fucking bastards. Your city's a whole, by the way. Anybody who thinks New Orleans, you can come at me, find me. I will defend myself. New Orleans is a hot, swampy mess.
And they produce Lee Harvey Oswald.
And
Jesus Christ.
People shit and piss on the street. Shit and piss on the street. Okay, so I got a story for you. I'm totally going to sidetrack here.
Go for it.
Going up on New Orleans. People pissing on the street. So I'm walking, we're staying in an Airbnb, right? Me and my buddy. We're here week 2 last year, Saints Bucks. By the way, my Bucks beat the Saints in week 2. Yep. Swept last year, yeah.
Go for it.
So we're standing there, we hear something break the window next door.
Uh-huh.
We look out there, and the dude, it is in his house. We're like, a guy had chucked a brick through this guy's window. So he's obviously scared for his life.
Right.
So we're like, yo, you want us to call the cops? He's like, hell yeah. So we call the cops.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, this is the New Orleans Police Department that tells me this. And my buddy, we're on speaker.
Yeah.
They go, well, did the brick get thrown through your window? No. So it didn't happen to you? No. So unless the guy who happened to calls us, we're not going to do anything.
What?
I'm like, so this is a true story. That you can back this. Mitch Kudik will back this up. They said to us, unless that guy calls, he's obviously in the middle of dealing with the brick thing. Doesn't have time to call the cops. So they said we're not going to do anything. And then people were pissing on the street all the time. So we go to. Nicolas Cage is a very famous actor. He paid like $6,000 to have his. So they're below sea level. They have an above ground cemetery.
Yeah.
So we want to go see his above ground cemetery thing in one of the cemeteries. So we go there. And the dude tells us when we get to the front that we need a tour.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, okay, how much is the tour? Well, all the tours are sold out. I'm like, what the fuck? So the whole cemetery is surrounded by, I don't know, an 8-foot wall.
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking around and my buddy Mitch is like, yo, let's climb this wall. I'm like, I'm not climbing that wall, man. He's like, look, people are pissing on the streets, and earlier today, a dude chucked a brick through a window. They didn't do shit. You can climb this wall.
Right.
So I climbed that wall. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So that shows you how shitty New Orleans is. Oh, and also, you left Six Flags to rot for like 20 years. It's still sitting there infested with alligators and snakes. And who the fuck builds a city below sea level? And it smells like urine and rotted eggs. Anyway, totally got off track.
That's fine, because I'm about to add to that New Orleans story. Because when I went
Go ahead, you got one, go ahead.
Alright,
Cook.
So we went there, it had to have been 2014, 2015 or whatever. And it was a thing, Mardi Gras and all of this other stuff. So, like Mclain said, the place smells like a fucking toilet.
And there's homeless people all over the place. You go to Bourbon Street, there's homeless people. You go to the Mississippi River, there's fucking homeless people. They're everywhere. They don't even try to hide them. They're like the mascots. Sorry.
But the hot sauce, the beignets, and all that other stuff, that's a pretty damn good food.
The food, oh.
I mean, the food is fucking great, but, and excuse my French, well, it's a podcast. It shouldn't matter to y'all. So, anyway, like my boss had once said, alright, he was the CFO for a financial place that I work for. that is one of the few cities on earth where you're out there. As soon as you get into your hotel room or Airbnb, you feel like you got to take a shower, no matter what you did. If you've been out there for more than an hour, you just feel you just feel dirty. And that's the thing about New Orleans and so forth. And the girls that I was with and the other guy that was with us, we all just like took our turns taking a shower. We was like, man, this shit is, I mean, the atmosphere was fun because it was Mardi Gras, but I can't imagine living down there.
Yeah. I think that, well, the reason it feels so dirty is, one, it's in a literal swamp below sea level.
Yeah.
So the air never moves. It just sits there.
Yeah, it's sticky, yeah.
And it's sticky, so you feel like your clothes are stuck to your body. And you go 20 miles outside of the city, and you're out in nothing. It's beautiful. I mean, I wouldn't consider it beautiful, but it is calm, and it's country, and it's...
Yeah.
The people who live in New Orleans, even the middle-class people, I think that they think that is good, because they don't know any better. They don't know that no one's moving to New Orleans.
No.
They have nothing outside of...
If they're going to move there, they're going to move to Texas.
Yeah, there's nothing outside of Bourbon Street. There's nothing to do.
No.
But so we went, obviously, last year. The Superdome doesn't look like it's nice. But you get in that thing, and because it's a dome, it was unbelievable atmosphere, great fans, and also the seats are cushioned because it's inside.
Yeah.
But back to football. Done trashing on New Orleans as a team and as a city and blah blah blah. Not the point, because I could get into Dallas.
I still love those beignets. So
great food, but I could get into Dallas anyway. Derek Carr has been a very good quarterback for the last 9 years.
Yeah.
Do I think he's worth $150 million? No.
No.
But that's the going price for a starting quarterback in today's NFL. Just the way it is.
When is that going to stop? I mean, at some point, you're going to almost have to have a whole nother cap just for the quarterback.
Yes. So, if the Saints are healthy, if Michael Thomas is healthy, if Alvin Kamara can come off his 3-game suspension and play like we know how he is, can be a top 3 running back in football, they're going to be a scary football team. Yes, their defense is older. Cam Jordan's going to be 34. Demario Davis is 33. Malcolm Jenkins is like 37 at this point. Unless he's not retired, maybe I'm wrong. But I know that, and they have Marshawn Lattimore, who's a head case, but he's a top 25 defensive back in the league.
I agree.
Their defense is older, but it's still elite.
Yeah.
And they have Chris Olave, who's a freak.
Yeah.
Right behind Garrett Wilson, he's one of the top receivers coming out of last year. If they're healthy, the Saints win the division.
Who's their hybrid tight end quarterback?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill.
He's still there?
Yeah, he's still
there. He's like 35 too.
Wow.
But I'm not high on their coach. I'm not high on Dennis Allen.
That's my biggest detractor about this.
I do like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I like Derek Carr in Vegas. I wanted Derek Carr.
You just don't know how many times I've called him David. I mean, seriously, it took me everything I had to keep saying Derek Carr instead of,
So, if healthy, they will win the division.
Yeah.
If Kamara does not come back and play the way we know he has proven he can play, and Michael Thomas does what Michael Thomas does and gets injured, they're not winning the division.
So, do you see them winning more than 10 games?
Michael Thomas gets hurt and they don't win the division.
Okay. So
I don't think Michael Thomas is even 80% of what he was in 2018 or 2019.
So, who's your backup? Carolina?
Carolina's not winning the division.
All right. Who?
They traded away their top flight receiver.
Right.
Bryce Young is young.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah.
I think he's undersized.
Right.
They don't have Christian McCaffrey.
Right. Which I just touched about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're third, and the Falcons are last. Falcons suck.
Of course they do.
Even with Kyle Pitts and they have another wideout out there, a guy from last year. I'm blanking on his name. I saw them in Atlanta last week of the year. They're last. They suck. Let's just get that out there. They're not good. Nothing about the Falcons is good. Desmond Ridder is not the answer.
3-win team.
Yeah. Yep.
Possibly picking first in the draft. Who knows?
I think that Obviously, I'm repping a Baker Mayfield jersey. It's a prove-it year for Baker. Everybody knows he's got the perfect situation. He's got the best receiving corps he's ever had in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He's got... I think that defense is still top 10.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
Still
what
top
would have
10.
carried him. Yeah.
Yep.
That defense by themselves is going
And
to
the
win
Bucs brought
7
in Dave
games.
Canales.
Yeah.
Look what Dave Canales did with Geno Smith last year.
Yeah.
And I'm already seeing the creativity. If Baker can throw 30 touchdowns with 10 picks he'll get a multi-year deal and be the quarterback of the future in Tampa.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. People are ranking the Bucs, and because that Brady left, they did everything they could to win a Super Bowl when they got Brady, which you need to, and they got one. It's hard now. How do you want to go forward? Because I think if they had a worse roster overall, they'd go forward and tank and maybe go for Caleb Williams.
You know what? Look, with Tampa Bay, I think why everybody's down on them is because of the head coach. Because
I'm not
a Todd Bowles.
I'm not a Bowles guy.
Yeah, I mean, but
he's not the OC anymore. He's not the one calling the plays. He's if he sticks to defense and lets Dave do his thing.
That's it. Because I mean, he's a top 5 defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Tampa sticks with that and let the other side of the ball be Canales, I mean, hell.
And I think that, again, it goes back to expectations. There's not a lot of pressure on the Bucs. Brady retired. A lot of people wrote him off. A lot of people I'm talking to has them having like the second worst roster in the league.
Well,
Just because they lost Brady doesn't mean they got awful.
All right, so let me ask you this, and we probably said that on one of the other podcasts. Did you really think Brady was that bad last year? I didn't think he was.
No, it was Leftwich.
I mean,
the Bucs. The thing that's gonna I think Michael Thomas gets hurt and the Bucs win the division.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think they have 10 wins and that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're not talking about a world beater division.
No. Now, if the Saints are healthy, I think they have a 12-win football team.
Right.
But I don't think they're healthy. I think the Bucs have 10 wins. The Saints are second. Panthers are third. Falcons are last.
Good
and
case.
that's just the way I see. Now, the question is with Tampa, does that offensive line hold up?
So I will put graphics to show our predictions for you.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
All right.
He's the editor guy. I'm just I give my not-so-expert opinion.
Well, the actual editor guy is off camera, Mr. Cliff, but, we're in training, put it that way.
We gotta give credit to the guy behind the camera. Give a shout out to the guy behind the camera, yeah.